música metiendo con todo. Con Helio Piedra junto a la bandida, no es liga, esto es un vacilón. En H2 el 97.3 la fiesta se formó. La música con variedad te tocamos desde salsa hasta reggaetón. Un vacilón, este es el show de la mañana en el tapón. Son un bombón, tírame remix, let's go.
Ya no tienes excusa, pero si le ponen la canción, le da una depresión.
Si te invito a una copa y me acerco a tu boca,
mi cuerpo negro está
puro chantaje, puro chantaje.
Esto es el show de la mañana, el show. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show. Esto es el show de la mañana, el show.
Este es el show de la mañana con Helio Piedra y la bandida.
Este es el show de la mañana, el show. ¡Uepa!
¡Qué rico, señoras y señores! Bienvenido de regreso a la última hora del show de la mañana aquí en Tu Fiesta Radio, celebrando nuestra música donde siempre te traemos la mejor energía. Ya tú lo sabes, este servidor Helio Piedra, Telma Cruz,
La bandida
y Mafer te dan la bienvenida de regreso. Pero en este instante vamos a cambiar a inglés. We're going to be speaking English because now we have special guests with us that we want to introduce. Like, let's pretend, you know that we like to pretend that we are in the Olympic Games or something, some award or something going on. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. This is the moment that we've been waiting on. The reason you came to the morning show at this time. Yes, we have a special guest, a good friend personally. And hey, let me tell you, one of the greatest assets that we have here at Fly GMB, Gainesville Regional Airport. My friend, let's welcome Erin Porter.
Welcome.
Yay.
Welcome, yes.
Gracias.
Oh,
nada.
I love it.
Vuelo fácil.
Oh my goodness. How you doing, Erin? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. I mean, what better place to be than here with you guys? It's so happy and positive and bright and gorgeous and colorful. And
Oh my goodness.
thank you.
You are too kind. You are too
Yeah.
kind. Thank you very much. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Well, we feel very honored that you came into the morning show with us to share a little bit about our Reno airport that right now is being expanding and developing the infrastructure a lot, and we want to learn more about it and why you say that flying from Gainesville is vuelo fácil, you know.
Well, I have to say, when I first came to Gainesville as a student in 1978, I'd never been here before, and I landed at the Gainesville Regional Airport, and it was a lot different place. Where I landed was on the other side of the airport where we had our Gator fly-in. It's now the private side of the airport. And it was, I came off of my plane down some air stairs, and I took a taxi to my dorm. And it was interesting that I, many decades later, came back, and that it's where I work on the other side of the airport now. So there's so much going on, though, that we have happening in our community. And what I would like to say is one of the things that is wonderful about our airport is it's such a great asset to a relatively small community that thinks big. And we're so lucky that we have the air service that we have. We have the two largest legacy carriers in the world, which are American and Delta. And we can, through those airlines, we can get to 343 destinations around the world in just one stop. So that means on Delta, you would go through Atlanta, and on American, you would go through Miami, Dallas, or Charlotte. So for us as a community our size, to have what we have is really outstanding, and those flights go every single day, which is kind of rare for a smaller airport. So we're lucky. We're really, really lucky. The reason we say vuelo fácil, if I'm saying it right, is because it's just easier to fly out of Gainesville. Now, a lot of people might think, well, I'm going to get a lower fare if I fly out of Orlando. or Jacksonville or Tampa, that may be true for the airfare, and we don't control that, by the way. But you have to figure in the gas, the tolls, and let's face it, your time is valuable. So we do have a cost calculator that shows on our website, which is flygainesville.com, which shows how much those things really cost. So don't be afraid to fly Gainesville, and B, please check the cost calculator, because you might be really surprised that a lot of times Gainesville ends up being the most economical.
Oh, wow. I have friends that they have gone to Europe from Gainesville, right? You can leave Gainesville and then go to, someplace else. And
do a one stop, either Miami or Charlotte or Atlanta, and then
or Dallas, Fort Worth. And here's the thing, guys, when you get back from those European vacations or South American vacations or Latin America, wherever you go in the world, let's say you go to Antarctica, you're going to come back, and if you land at one of those other airports, you have that long drive.
Oh, my goodness.
And if there's, we call I-75 the lottery, you never know what's going to happen on that thing. And sometimes after you've been traveling that whole time, sometimes you've made, several stops on your way. And, I was coming back from Austria last year, and I was flying with friends, so I actually had to fly out of Orlando. And I got back, and I had that really nasty drive. And I had something like a 36-hour travel day.
Wow.
So, it's so nice to land and be at home.
Yep. Yes.
And we have people who say that, one guy told me, he said, I landed, and 35 minutes later, my laundry was in the spin cycle. It's just, you land and you're home. And I had another person tell me they could push their key button and hear their horn honk. That's how close the car was. You're not on some shuttle bus, going.
With what you mentioned, it's true. When you think about the price, my sister recently, she flew from Utah, and we were looking at the tickets. She was like, should we do, through Orlando, it was like $100 or $150 less.
Yeah.
But then we thought about that. It was like, okay, if you flew into Orlando, I have to go pick you up. That's time. That's money.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to eat something out because you are going to be hungry. We're not going to be close to home. And then on Sunday when you leave, we'll have to plan your leave, drive to Orlando. And it was too much, so she ended up paying a little bit more, but she flew into Gainesville. I picked her up, 15 minutes, went home. The same thing when dropping her off, we left home like an hour before her flight, so it was very convenient.
It is, and
more easy.
Yeah, I think people really need to remember that. I've had people say, well, but my son picks me up, or he takes me, or whatever, and it's like, well, how's that for your son? Now he has 8 hours.
Exactly.
He can't have back. Or some people even say, shockingly, well, we get a hotel, the night before. And it's like, well, are you adding that onto the price tag? Because the hotels right now are not inexpensive.
Oh, yeah.
They'll even say, I rent a car, and it's like, wow.
And if you think about it, the facility of Gainesville Regional Airport is super good. And you mentioned like it wasn't like that back in the 70s.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't like that in 2012 when I arrived here. I remember there was nothing. It was just a gate. Everything was super there. I was like, is this thing even open? Like, can I leave the airport? And right now you go and you see people. It's right. They even have a bar, a restaurant bar right outside of the gates.
We actually have 3 little places that you can get food. We just opened another third one called the Alachua Grill, and you can even get avocado toast.
Okay.
We expanded the menu, and then the other 2 are going to sort of get a little bit of a renovation, and they're going to have new names. There's one called 352 Bites and Brews, and then another name I think is the Gainesville Marketplace. So you have options. We, a few years back, a couple summers ago, we opened our new terminal expansion. So it added 2 gates, but it added 15,200 square feet to our airport.
Wow.
And so it added sort of a whole new wing. And along with those 2 gates, we also have some really nice amenities. For example, we have a really it's actually quite pretty pet relief area where you can take your pet, and why I say it's pretty is because all 4 walls are covered with this jasmine, and it's in full bloom right now, and so you're in this almost like Garden of Eden with your pet.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
It's very convenient. It used to be that you had to take them outside. And then we also have a mother's lounge where you can take your little baby if you are nursing and have some privacy. We also have a family restroom. We have a chapel or a quiet meditation area where you can go. It's sort of a quiet room for that purpose.
That is awesome. That is awesome that you're sharing that with us.
Very tranquil and pretty and nice. And, just if you need some time to go reflect, you have that nice room. All of our seats and tables have places to plug in your devices. We have charging tables where you can just lay your phone down if it's capable of doing that and charge it that way. So it's just very much more convenient and placid. And someone even told me the other day, or they put it on our social media, that it's the spa of airports.
Wonderful. And what we mentioned at the beginning, it is a small airport. We were thinking as big airport. Those are things that you can find in Houston Airport, New York Airport, which it gets along with everyone, so it's fine to have it here.
We're even getting a car wash service. It's a waterless H2O. I'm not going to have the name, but it's a waterless car wash service. So while your car is parked and you're away, they'll clean your car for you before you get back. And this is something new that we were just announcing. Another thing is we're building a 418 space parking garage. So we really have convenient parking. I think existing parking, our farthest away spot is only 650 feet away. That's not that hard to get to.
Yes.
Like I said, you don't have to take a shuttle bus or a train or any of this stuff. So, but with our new parking garage that will open next year at some point, I would say anywhere from August of 24 onward could be the opening. There will be 418 spots. We'll have 18 charging stations for the electric vehicles, and it will be covered parking, and then there will be a covered walkway for people. So I think it will add a lot of convenience and ease to our airport. And the other thing is it will be a multimodal transportation hub, so that the Ubers and Lyfts and taxis and buses will drop passengers off in a more safe area, so that they're not making the airport curb in the front as busy for those cars that are just dropping people off. So again, it's just one more thing that will add to the ease and sort of make it like a big grown-up airport, which it really is.
That is awesome.
Wow. I wanted to say too, sometimes people think they can come, like you said, we woke up an hour before our flight, but you got to be careful, because even though it is easy and smaller and stuff, sometimes the airlines especially, they'll cut off their check-in period a half hour before the plane leaves, and if you're not at that gate 10 minutes before, forget it. So you should treat it like a big city airport in that regard. And same with the curb. Sometimes people stop and we've had people just park their car and go right in and stop at the curb. You can't do that. You can park for $1 and go into the parking lot. So don't treat it, you got to treat it like a big city airport.
Exactly, with that mentality, because if not, you can be late super easy. Absolutely. Yeah. But now I would like to kind of like talk about you. I always like to get into personal, because it seems you're very, very passionate, dedicated, person, and you're very involved with our Chamber of Commerce, with our networking meetings and groups, and you guys are always supporting everything that is happening in the community. You've been partnering with Dance Alive National Ballet, that they came here the other day as well. I remember for Christmas you had this beautiful tree. So you don't stop, Erin, doing things. You're always active, and I love that about you. It's just so contagious. So you have do you have anybody that actually motivated you in your past to get into flights, airport? What is your background related to airports and aircraft and all of this?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I would say my father, John Porter, I was born in a flying family, and so
Wow.
I've been flying since I was a little baby. In fact, my mother was pregnant with me when she was learning to fly.
Wow.
And I was lucky to grow up in a family that loved to fly, and we had a plane, and we went everywhere as a family of 6 with a golden retriever. I would be on my mom's lap. My sister would be on my brother's lap. Our golden retriever would be at our feet. My dad would be flying in the front. I mean, it was kind of unsafe, to be quite honest. When we got bigger, we had to get a bigger plane. So I was really lucky to grow up in that family. And then I came to college here and absolutely loved Gainesville. That was a surprise for me to come here. I grew up in Michigan and was supposed to go to the University of Michigan, and I think a fate, one of these meant to be moments took place, and someone told me about coming to school here, and I thought, well, I'm going to check it out. It was the best thing I ever did. I loved going to school here. My degree was in broadcast production, and I was able to use aviation to do what I love to do. So I do PR, marketing, media through aviation. My first job, I was lucky enough to meet the president of Learjet, who had made a film on the Wright brothers, and they were still putting it together. They had shot the footage, but they needed to put the music to it, and they needed to match the script to the images they had. And so that was my first job, and my first boss, Harry Combs, was another idol of mine. And then I worked for 2 airlines. I got involved in this wild project where they were trying to fly around the world in balloons.
Wow.
It's a crazy long story that would take, 2 more mornings to tell. But through that, I worked for Baron Hilton, who is the chairman of Hilton Hotels and also an aviation enthusiast. And then next, I worked for Richard Branson, who was, you guys may have heard of, from Virgin. He was trying to do a balloon flight of his own around the world. Very, small number of people who try to do these things, but I happened to find all of them. I got to work with a lot of the astronauts. Neil Armstrong was my first boss's best friend. I also worked with Buzz Aldrin and Gene Cernan, the last man to set foot on the moon, and met a lot of the initial astronauts. I think since you went to the Gator fly-in, you know about Colonel Joe Kittinger, and he was a Gator, and he was someone who was very prominent in the pre-space era. He proved that man could survive if they had to get out of the spacecraft on re-entry. And he jumped out of a balloon at 102,800 feet. He was wearing a spacesuit in 1960 and proved that man could survive. So we dedicated our Gator fly-in to him this past year. It was fun seeing you guys there for Media Day. But those are some of my heroes. There are more. I'm so lucky to work in the aviation community, and it's been really cool to come back to my college town sort of at the end of my career and finish up, I think, who knows what will happen, but to kind of finish up at the University of Florida, where I attended and helped serve my community through my airport.
That is so nice.
Yeah, that's such a great story.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite aircraft?
I have to say, as far as what I love to fly in, I would say is a helicopter. I've been in so many balloons, they're okay. I'm kind of over them. I've been in gliders, and they're beautiful, but I quite honestly need to be on oxygen in them. I'm pretty comfortable in small planes, but I have to say there's something about flying in a helicopter that is so cool. You're just seeing the world, through kind of a fishbowl. And especially if you have headsets on and great music playing and you're in a beautiful, scenery. I just think it's one of the neatest ways to fly.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some people, they don't want to do it because they feel unsafe. And I got to tell you, when we did, Maffer, part of the production went there, or even Tootie went there. I feel completely saved. Like, it was so special.
Yeah.
I was like, Oh my goodness, look at this. And then we flew over
We
the
have to come back
stadium.
because I want to go next time.
We gotta wait now till next year.
Well, everyone should know in our community we have a great flying school, and if you, it's at the University Air Center, and it's run by Pam Landis, who's outstanding, and Debbie Frederick is my great friend, who is the Chief Operating Officer over at the University Air Center, which is its own really interesting place on our airport. They do all the sports charters, they do a lot of medical charters, they run the flight school, they fuel our airplanes, they have the fuel farm over there, so anything that flies privately goes there. And we have a really interesting operation going on the medical side at our airport, which people should know. And any given day, except for Easter and Christmas, the blood plane flies to a 3-state area delivering blood, tissue, and tubules. We also have lots of organ transplant flight activity that, is obviously life-saving. There's quite, a kind of highway or flyway between us and Shands, Mayo, and Johns Hopkins, and it's just fascinating to hear about that whole side of things. So an airport is really a lifeline, and ours is definitely a robust lifeline with everything we have going on in our community.
Wow! Imagine how amazing that they are able to do all of that within the airport. And talking about the La Bandida, she was mentioning that she would love to go back. So if you go, how is there a way that you can normally fly? You just show up, or you make an appointment with the University Air Center, or that's not how it works?
So the University Air Center and Pam Landis, you can call the University Air Center Flight School. And I'm sorry I don't have the number memorized, but they have a discovery flight, and it's not very expensive at all. You can actually go up and see if you even like being in an airplane, if you feel comfortable, and if you want to kind of think about flying. Because let's face it, everyone, we have a shortage of pilots, and it's a great career, and that's a great place to learn how to fly. So, but, I think people should see if they even feel comfortable in an airplane, if they even like it. Because if you get up there and you don't feel well, it might not be the best career for you.
Exactly, yeah. And wow.
You gotta taste it.
Yeah. And I wonder how specific can be to learn how to fly a helicopter, like how to learn. And
you should have Pam on, and she will tell you. Pam has been flying, she's been a flight instructor and a helicopter pilot for decades, and she is an incredible woman. So I think you should have Pam on, and she can tell you all that info.
That's awesome.
I don't know the answers, and but she will, and she'd be a great person to have on. She's incredible.
And the great info to know, the great thing to know is that it is you guys that are listening right now just want to learn about it, just reach out to University Air Center, right?
Yes.
And someone like Pam, or I'm assuming somebody else also will be able to help you guys, we all of that. It was incredible. It was one of the most so far the most exciting experience of 2023. I gotta tell you that for sure. No, Muffin?
Yeah, I have a great time. It was a great experience.
And
for sure.
And meeting the Air Force crew, that they were, everybody there was so nice. I gotta tell you, but very nice, very open to us for interviewing.
Our pilot was kind of like showing off as we were doing the tour. He was like, here is the sun, and if you look at here, you see this. It was very, very nice.
The C-130 pilots, the Air Force pilots who came from Savannah that you're talking about, they, usually on any given day, they're in Syria or Iraq, and it was such a privilege to have them here with us and to share what they do. I mean, that is a really important role that they play in our world peace, and it was an honor to have them. And Colonel Joe Kittinger was in the Air Force, so they were proud to be there, paying sort of homage to him.
Oh, wow.
We had the flyover that was beautiful of the T-6 Texans and the Flown West, and we had Gozia and Ali sing "America the Beautiful," and it was gorgeous. You know, just they are they add a lot to our event.
That is
the
awesome.
opening ceremony. So
that is wonderful.
Really lucky.
It's funny because when we went up to the air, I was live on Facebook. I was doing Facebook Live on the air, and then I was explaining the people that were asking, "What are you doing over there? What is happening?" And I was like, "No, everything is fine. We just go. we're right now." And I was making a joke like, "This is not CNN. Let me tell you, this is Tu Fiesta Radio. We're in the air at University Center." And the pilot, he was on, I think his name was Mike or something like that. Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
He was looking at me and laughing like, yeah, this guy for real is not going to shut up the entire flight. Because, you know, he was listening to me on the headphones. You know, you can listen to through the microphone. And I was explaining everybody. And I was thinking about that as I am watching the video after the fact. I was like, wow, I was talking a lot.
Well, it's incredible when you get above the earth. And even, you know, if it's in your hometown or a place you don't know, it's incredible what you see.
Yes.
And, you know, in our community, so what you went on was called the Swamp Tour, and you went over the Ben Hill Griffith football stadium. But it's amazing when you see a town from the sky. Like, I don't know if they took you over the Sweetwater Wetlands Park, but you can see the gator.
Yes.
And you can see his head. Not the small alligators in the water. There's a gator shape. And it's wow. I mean,
incredible.
So there are things that you see flying over Payne's Prairie, or, you know, I've been on them where they said, well, do you want me to take you over your house? It's like, yeah, I'd love to see my community from the air. So it just kind of makes the world, I don't know, you relate to things differently when you get above it, and that's what all the astronauts say, you know.
And one thing that I did perceive is how beautiful but how clean like Gainesville is from. I mean, in colorful and
the green.
Oh, the green, right? I mean, my friend and I were talking, and they're like, "Wow, look at this! It's just gorgeous, like
very vibrant."
Yeah, Gainesville from the very top, from the air. When you're looking down, all the colors, and you see the city. I mean, it was so special, and I want to thank you and we want to thank Pam and all of you guys at the airport and University Air Center for making that happen. Because for us here at Tu Fiesta Radio, it was such a great experience.
Yeah.
And I know, because I actually watched the pictures of other friends that went the next day for the Gator Fly event, and they had a blast with their kids, their families.
Well, it's important for people to understand aviation and what it does, and see what an asset it is to our community. But I think also the other thing about the Gator flying is we highlight what the media does. So sorry, not the media. The media, yes, we do. Yes. But also the military. And it's so neat because people just fly in for the day with their aircraft, the kind of private citizens, and show them off. And we have a contest. It's great for people to learn what these flying machines do and how to get into aviation. And it's just a really nice day for us to share what we love to do with the rest of the community. And it's a free event. You do have things that you pay for if you want to go up in helicopters and things like that. But for the most part, if you just wanted to stop and talk to people, there's no charge to park. There's a shuttle. We have food trucks that you can pay for, or there are vendors and things. But for the most part, if you just wanted to have a nice, pretty inexpensive day with your family and learn a lot about flying, that's a great day. So we've already got it on the books for next March.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's I think it's March. It's either March 23rd or 5th. I don't have it memorized, but it's the Saturday in the 20s of March.
Nice. And we'll probably be there as well, because we had a great time.
With you. With me.
Yeah.
Yes. And any other events that you guys have coming up?
Well, we don't. That's our big event. We do, and we have, and we would like to start again smaller fly-ins. So we were going to have during the Tom Petty birthday, there were a few during COVID that we had planned that got stopped. So we were going to have the Never Stop Learning to Fly fly-in that coincides with the Tom Petty event. And we did do one, I'd rather be flying, fly in. So we do other fly-ins that are smaller, that are fun, where we just say, hey, pilots, wherever you are, wherever you're from, come on in. We've got, burgers, we've got hot dogs, we've got other pilots, to just kind of come and talk to. And it's a really fun thing. So that's one of the things that we're talking about doing more of. It's a little bit tricky during football season because we've got the football games and charters and things like that. But there's nothing more fun than a fly-in to us. It's really cool. And when we open our parking garage, we're talking about doing some kind of cool things with classic cars, and I don't know, to be continued. So I'll keep you guys posted on whatever we have. Happening.
Absolutely.
So, but in the meantime, I also wanted to say, people say, why can't we have this airline? Why can't we have that airline? Why don't we have Southwest? Why don't we have Spirit? I just want everyone to know, we do constantly try to get other airlines to fly to Gainesville. We have, in fact, I'm about to go to one in June, and it's a speed dating format, believe it or not, where we have a 20-minute date, and we are at one side of the table and the airline is at the other side of the table, and we have 20 minutes to try to convince them to come to Gainesville. Of course, just like any business, they're looking at making money and filling seats in a plane. They don't want any planes to go out empty, just like a hotel has heads and beds.
Yeah, you don't have to do that with Spirit though.
We have the in the airline world, it's what's in seats, butts in seats, I'll say it.
Yeah.
So just know that we're always trying, and we're fighting for that. It's a little bit tough environment right now because since the pandemic, the pilot shortage, and also what they've been doing is taking smaller planes and retiring those, and then using bigger planes so that they don't have to have as many pilots. And they're also chopping the schedule in half. So that's made it a little bit trickier for air service development to grow. But just please know, community, we are always trying.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So we want to thank you, Erin, for being here with us this morning.
Great
and sharing,
information.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
information. That was
I
awesome.
loved it. And I just have to say again, vuelo fácil.
Fly GMB in the house, baby.
I got my matching glasses. See? I actually wore them
I love it.
for EP, my EP brother.
Yes, your EP, that's right. Saying initials and everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Erin,
you,
once
everyone.
again. And
Come see us at GMV. Fly easy and vuelo fácil.
Yes, fly easy, fly GMB. Here with our dear friend Erin Porter. This being such a pleasure, mi gente, una vez más, el show de la mañana con Helio Piedra, Telma Cruz, La Bandida,
y Maffer.
And of course, our dear friend Erin Porter.
Thank you.
See you next time.
La emisora que te hace vibrar.
Dale candela.
Las 20